now we have Natalia Zagvozdina from X5. X5 is I think a good example of a traditional market leader. It's the market leader in food retail, but that has also successfully developed and become a leader in online food retail. I can tell you that I have 4 small kids and we live in the center of Moscow, so go shopping for food is not really my favorite exercise. It takes probably 20 minutes to go somewhere with a car in big traffic jams, to find a parking space for the car, then to carry all of this food and then to go home. Whereas if I order with X5, or there are other players as well, food to my home, I can get it. If it's small things, I get it in 10-15 minutes. If it's like your big basket of food purchases, is probably I will get it within kind of 1.5 hours. Home, super convenient, just delivered to my door with either zero or a very small cost of delivery. So I'm personally a big believer in this food retail, and I think in a country like Russia with basically cheap and quick delivery and very kind of congested and difficult traffic situation, I think this is clearly the future. I will leave it to you now, Natalia, so please.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you for inviting and organizing. I'm going to ask you if you see my slides as a full screen or...
Yes, we see as a full screen now.
Okay, good. Let me introduce X5 Retail Group. I'm a head of corporate finance and investor relations here at X5. I've been following the industry as first the sell side and the buy side analyst, and the last 3 years I've spent inside one of the largest corporations in Russian food retail. Let me put it into perspective in the market that we serve. Retail is the largest industry by turnover. It's over 30 trillion rubles between food and non-food. Roughly half of that is food. We'll speak about it later. There is 146 million people to serve, and X5 has the number of stores and their locations in which we have invested 20+ years to be close to 50% of Russian population. So we're within the reach, a walk from 50% of Russian households. Russia is the large food retail market. It's largest globally. It's not a market that is growing very fast. You've heard about the macro in Russia, and the real disposable income has shown almost no growth over the last few years, and the market nominal growth is only the food inflation. However, the largest companies are able to significantly outpace the growth of the underlying food retail market and consolidate the market share. Food is a rather large part of Russia's household budgets, about 30%. It is a rate that is normal for countries with relatively low per capita income. It would be a much smaller percentage of the per household income in the US, for example, or Sweden. Share of modern retail is already quite high, 78%, but we still have a good 10 to 15% to go and capture from traditional retail. That is to compare where Russia is in terms of the split between the traditional retail and modern retail. I would say that it doesn't seem impossible that we will get to a 80% plus, maybe close to 85% share of modern retail. This is where we compete with our peers. A few numbers to put it into perspective. How large is the pie, and what are the emerging sub-sectors within the food retail where X5 is positioned as one of the core players? The largest part is still traditional in a way that is offline stores of different formats. The largest format in Russia is convenience. Hard discounters is an emerging format, which is quite unusual for an emerging market. For example, in Turkey, or in Poland, it would be already a much bigger part of the pie. Online food retail, where we're also present, we're actually the market leader in both, in the largest part of this pie and in the smallest but the fastest growing part of this pie, because we're the market leader in e-grocery as well as in offline. There is a HoReCa segment where we see the growing competition from, but still, what this chart is showing you that there is a tremendous growth in two parts of the food retail market, traditional offline stores and online, where we have a strategy to improve the leadership, sustain the leadership, and this is the business that we're in. This is referring to my point earlier that although the market itself is growing roughly with the line of food inflation, and the market here is the green line, the orange line is the pace of revenue growth of X5 as the market leader. And gray line is top 10. You see that the largest retailers do realize their competitive advantage, their scale, their better purchasing terms, their extensive investments in network of stores, logistics infrastructure, and that enables the largest retailers to demonstrate solid double-digit rates of top line growth. What X5 is today, apart from being the market leader, our market share in offline and in e-grocery is actually similar. Last year, we finished with 12.6% in each of the food retail market segments, and the gap between the largest and the second largest is several percentage points, so it's not that small. We are multi-format omni-channel retailer. We used to have three core formats. Peterочка, our proximity, is the largest of our formats. I'll show you on the next slide the revenue contribution. Чижик is the newest addition. It's the hard discounter pilot store that we pin a lot of our hopes in terms of the next 3 to 5 years market share gains and improvements in return on invested capital, because we seem to have found a very successful and efficient operating model for the hard discounter. Перекресток is our FMCG marketplace, and in each of the core offline formats, we have so-called internally a digital tail, so express delivery facilitated through our proprietary mobile apps of the goods from the stores, from our stores. This is the composition of our revenue. Peterочка is our core format proximity. You can see here that it's also the highest margin part of our business. Carousel is being phased out. It's the segment of offline hypermarkets, which we think are challenged, structurally challenged by growing e-grocery and online proposition, as well as by emerging hard discounters. This is where we're present. We're with our more than 18,000 stores and opening the stores at the pace of 1,500 to 3,000 stores per year. So there were years in our history, not that long ago, that we opened like 10 stores per day. Today, we're more we've slowed. We're opening 4 stores a day, 2 before the lunch and 2 after lunch. So the pace of expansion still remains tremendous. I don't know many other retailers globally that have an ability, the system, the team, and the vast market to open that many stores on an annual basis. We're not in the Far East. For us, it's only a matter of time that we come there. Some of the regions like Siberia are the newest for us. We are originally and historically from Moscow and St. Petersburg. These are our home markets. We're market leaders in these 2 most lucrative, from the margin perspective, Russian markets. Our network of 18,000 plus stores is supported by our proprietary logistics infrastructure. We have 43 distribution centers, more than 4,000 large trucks, and 95% of goods that you can find in our stores would be delivered from our distribution centers. It reduces our logistics costs and the prices that we buy the products from our suppliers. It also allows us to better control the quality and on-shelf availability of goods. In very few words, for the sake of time, what is our medium-term strategy? We aimed at increasing our market leadership in offline food retail to reach a 15% market share in 2023. In Russia, there is an anti-monopoly regulation that limits any retailer's market presence in any particular regional market to 25% only. So if we have in mind the 25% and the pace of our openings, we have more than 10 years of organic expansion ahead of us easily to get to above 20% market share. We're aiming at 20% market leadership in e-grocery, small but very fast growing segment. We're committed to our shareholders through increasing our dividends, and last year we introduced a semi-annual dividend, so we're now paying twice a year. And the management team has in place the LTI program that is tracking the market capitalization of our company. We would like to be a leader not only in number of stores, not only in size, but in efficiency, as well as in the amount of digital kind of components of our revenue. The aim is to have 5% of digitally originated sales in our revenue in 2023. Today it's 2%. It was 1% in 2020. It's growing really fast. Our express delivery, our Pro online hypermarket, 5-post e-commerce, last mile delivery. So from 1%, we've already moved to 2%. We're underway to 5% goal. Also, from about 15 million people who are our active monthly users of various online platforms and products that we have, we're aiming to increase this to 38 million in 2023. And we're currently considering creating a super app. As easy as it sounds for Kaspi, KZ, it's not as easy for us because we're growing from a multi-format, different brand retailer. However, we think it would make a perfect strategic sense to create ecosystem components within our offer to consumers and to eventually switch to a super app. As far as our financial targets go, we will be updating the market on those in the end of October. And I can preempt maybe some of our messages by saying that they will become more aggressive. So we see new sources of growth, not only 10% compounded annual growth rate for revenue, and stronger than just above 7% EBITDA margin through realizing various automation, digitalization, internal processes based on big data, focusing more and more on operational efficiency, especially labor productivity and personnel involvement. We're limiting our capex growth to be in line and not above growth of revenue. We're still in expansionary phase. We're investing in online and digital. So capex may seem high. It's about 5% of our revenue, but we are technologically expanding. We're expanding physically and geographically. This is maybe just an illustration that I think shows quite nicely that there is a sequential growth in every operational component, net retail sales and selling space, number of stores. Like-for-like sales depend greatly on food inflation. In 2018, it was at the lowest point in the Russian history. This year, we have a tailwind of the food inflation that is running at about 7 or above 7%. And we are successfully passing this inflation on to the shelves. Operational performance and growth translates into solid revenue dynamics, and you can see here on the lower left chart at stable profitability levels. So we're managing the growth and efficiency. Also, very briefly, maybe on some of our ESG targets. 3 years ago, we've developed an ESG strategy. We've started disclosing much more details about our environmental impact, about our social responsibilities. We have set ourselves the goals for the medium term for 2023. on CO2 emission that should reduce by 10% on per square meter basis. We're aiming at 10% reduction in general waste generation and an increase to of 95% in the amount of recyclable waste, both hard waste and food waste. These are our ratings in ESG for the past periods were available. Sustainalytics is also showing an improvement. They have a kind of a reverse methodology. We're very glad to see that the external market is recognizing our more systemic approach to ESG. I think I will not. Maybe I'll stop at this slide.
I think we can leave it here and have
yeah, just to
questions.
see the names of other retailers in our market share. Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to start with, if you look on the online part, so just for reference, I think even though online is a percent or so of your sales, various estimates were basically predicting that this could be like 15 to 30% of your market cap in terms of value, right? But if we look on the underlying growth, what is the underlying expected growth for you and for online food retail in general, let's say for the next 3 years or 5 years in Russia?
In the next 10 years, we expect the market to grow in value by at least 10 times. This year, the e-grocery market is doubling.
It's doubling this year.
It's doubling, yeah.
So people got used to doing during COVID times, and they kind of keep on doing it.
Yes, what we've seen this year, that the adoption of e-grocery and online purchasing of food has been ahead of our expectations. And there is also noticeable that express delivery within 1 hour is the preferred way in which consumers want to buy food. So they can occasionally opt for a bulk order, the type like Akeda will do probably in the States, or we do through Frog. But the offer from us, including, because we're the market leader in the grocery, is through tapping on your mobile app, you have access to nearly 2,500 SKUs from our nearest Peterочка stores that we allocated to your geolocation. And 2,500 items is a fairly wide assortment. And when it's combined with affordable prices, your ability to use your loyalty card and redeem your points, and high quality of the products and the service, the delivery within 40 to 60 minutes, all that in combination makes it an extremely attractive. And also we charge very little for delivery. We charge some, it's 99 rubles fixed per order, and average order value is 1.3 thousand rubles. So it's like 5% of the order. So tenfold increase, Jacob, tenfold increase at least until 2030.
What kind of CAGR is that, just out of curiosity?
What kind of CAGR?
I don't know that from the top of my head.
Yeah. Well calculated. Yeah. Hundreds, I think. Closer to 100%. Maybe.
Yeah. I think my take is that when you're in this kind of disruptive changes, the change also happens quicker than estimated. It becomes like an avalanche.
This change is also instigated and helped by a lot of investments in marketing that companies like Ozon and Sbermarket and Yandex are pouring into creating this user experience, expanding this market for ourselves. And it's important to get the operating model right, to kind of stand in this competition for longer and kind of be out of it as one of top 2 or top 3 market leaders. And then the consolidation would allow us to monetize.
Yeah, again, just from personal experience, I can tell you that the development in Russia is far ahead many European countries, including Sweden. I mean, in Sweden, you order food, and I don't think there's any option to get it within 1 hour. There's certainly not an option to get it in 10 minutes. There's possibly the option of getting it in kind of 1 to 2 days. So it's just a different experience. And of course, if you can get things within 1 hour, you know, the frequency obviously goes up a lot in terms of purchases, right? And that
Correct.
becomes your new kind of modus operandi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so unfortunately we're out of time, but thanks a lot for this, Natalia.
My pleasure.
Yeah, have a nice evening.
You too. Thank you for inviting.
Bye bye.